Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Foundations of Board Governance. I'm going to go ahead and begin the video.
Go ahead and begin the class. Again, this is Foundations of Board Governance. Nonprofit Network is a capacity building organization. We teach executive directors how to be executive directors and board members how to be board members. And Foundations of Board Governance is really helping both parties, the executive leadership team of an organization and the board, understand the roles, responsibilities, and the purpose. And so one of the things, first I want to thank our sponsors that allow this class to be free for those that want to take it. We've received some generous support, not only for us, but to ensure that during COVID, when money is weird and we are not sure where it's coming from next, that you still have access to all of these opportunities and all of these things that are really important to you. So again, just want to make sure that that we are grateful for the support that we get from foundations. We can't do this work without them. For those of you a year in that still need some support in terms of navigating Zoom, remember to close out all your other windows if you're still having a struggle with Wi-Fi, that your browser and your email all kind of draw from that. If you have a background enabled, that's going to draw on your Wi-Fi, and so if you start breaking up or I start stalling on your end, that might be an issue. Also, make sure that you're silencing your phone, and while this is being recorded and you're going to get a copy of the recording, this is as much for you as anything, and so try not to be distracted by your phone or your email. And then state who you are when you're responding. If we have all 40 some people show up, I'm not going to be able to see everybody's camera, so I am going to need some help. If you raise your hand, there's a little emoticon. You will come into my view. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat, but just trying to give you all of the tools that is going to make this workshop successful for all of us. So in the chat box, if you could state for, and this is, again, as much as a networking opportunity as it is to help me get to know you, but in the chat box, state your name and have you served on a board? Are you serving on a board currently, or are you staff? And then one word that describes what you think a board does. And I'm going to come back to that, let you fill all of that stuff in. But I want to talk to you mainly about why it's really important to get better as a board and get better as an organization. Back when President Johnson, back in the 50s, actually created the tax designation of a 501c3 in the 1953 tax code revision, there were 1,200 nonprofits that in the coming years right after President Johnson. When President Reagan took office, which was about 30 years, that 1,200 went to 12,000. So in terms of the scale, that was a really slow upgrade. Now we have 1.5 million nonprofit organizations in the United States today. That is a pretty significant growth. And the reason why we grew so fast after Reagan's tenure was because of all of the incentives that he put upon philanthropy. Now, when we think back to President Johnson's original design of the 501c3 and all of the nonprofit tax structure, we recognize that he was trying to incentivize individuals to kind of relieve the burden on the federal government for a couple of different, charitable intent. serving the elderly, taking care of foster children, orphans, that kind of stuff. And he wanted to make a way that that administration wanted to create a way where the federal government could assist charities that were relieving the burden on the federal government without a lot of back and forth paperwork. A one-time grant application, and regardless of how much you grew, you would get a payment from the federal government. And the payment and the fairness comes in terms of this tax relief. As a business, we don't pay taxes, and that's our payment from the federal government for our work. Doesn't matter how big we are, doesn't matter how small we are. We all get the same rate. So this is pretty significant when you come to the Reagan administration and recognize that the Reagan administration was really trying to shrink government, incentivize philanthropy, and place truly the burden of serving. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and begin the class again.
Well, I'm
This
sorry
is
about that. Let me see if I
Foundations
can
of
get us
Board
back.
Governance
I was beginning
Nonprofit
to think
Network
we had a
is a
problem.
capacity building organization. We teach executive directors how to be executive directors and board members how to be board members. And Foundations of Board Governance is really helping have a background enabled, that's going to draw on your Wi-Fi. And so if you start breaking up or I start stalling on your end, that might be an issue. Also, make sure that you're silencing your phone. And while this is being recorded and you're going to get a copy of the recording, million nonprofit when you come to the Reagan administration and was 51,000 nonprofits. This year there's 52,000. So when we think about the realities of competition and how we're going to succeed and how we're going to survive, it really matters that we understand how we're supposed to work and do that work really well. So I'm going to pause here for just a minute. While you're looking at this pyramid, I'm going to explain it a little bit. I want to check in on the chat box.
I want to apologize. I'm sorry. I think it is stopping here. Let me just see what I could do on my end here. Is anyone able to see the screen at this point?
I can just see our black squares and
Okay.
one person has a picture, but
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm restarting it from about that point that I think we just left off. I really apologize.
At this pyramid, I'm going to explain it a little bit. I want to check in on the chat box. But one of the things that we recognize, right? One of the things that you're here for most likely is how do we be good leaders? And the learning pyramid, which is typically used in group environments, it's really important to understand how much you're going to get out of this if all I do is lecture you. So again, ensuring that there's a lot of opportunity for you to engage and to self-teach. I'm really going to try and put you into small groups throughout the presentation, even if it's for 5 minutes, because the more that you have a group discussion, the more you're going to retain. The other takeaway I'd like you to observe is commonly a board meets during board meetings and someone's going to be doing the lecturing. So if you're looking for a way to evolve as an organization and to evolve the engagement of your board, you probably want to talk less and find other ways for engagement throughout your board meeting. Whether
I am very sorry. For some reason, this is not, it's like skipping. If you can come off of mute, how would you feel if I sent you the link and you could do this? You can start it when you want to. Does that sound okay to everybody? I'm feeling like we might continue to have this issue. Does that sound all right to everyone? That
Yep,
does.
sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you. My apologies. That was not the intention. This usually 99% of the time it goes off flawlessly, and this time it didn't. And I feel bad because I'm taking up your time. So we'll go ahead and we'll end this meeting, and I'll just send you everything in just a moment. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.